Geometry Dash is a pretty hard game, and in today's video I'm going to be showing levels going from average extreme demons to some of the hardest levels ever created in the game. First off, we are going to be starting off with Bloodbath, which today is considered a beginner extreme demon, and it's placed at number 672 on the demon list. But it wasn't always this way. In 2015, when Riot verified the level, everyone considered it top 1. In fact, it was so difficult that it took an entire 9 months for Quasar, who was the first victor, to complete it. To put that in perspective, that gap was never seen again up until Avernus, which is now the number 4 demon. I wanted to make this section short, so we're just going to move over to the top 1 level currently, which is Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave has 200 frame perfects in the level. That was just a frame on 60 FPS. That's how much time you have to react to one input on Tidal Wave. There's 200 of these. Level is also an XL level, which means that you're definitely going to have a lot of nerves at the end. This shows as every player who has completed the level has died at 95%. The ILL is a list of levels which are considered impossible or harder than the hardest rated level at the time of their creation. Though there is a few rules. They can't have a spam faster than 15 inputs per player a second, which means that these levels are impossible, but definitely not the hardest in the entire game. On this list, Tidal Wave is number 645, but what's around 250 spots higher is Eternus. Now, this level has been popular for around 3 months, and it's a Riot demon, so it has to have some good progress. Well, the most amount of progress anyone has made is 14 and 86 to 100. So yeah, this level is pretty hard. Alright, so for this next level, I tried to find something that was in the top 100 that was also decently known. The hardest one I could find that I thought a lot of people knew was Satan's Circles. Now, as you can see, this level is only possible on 720 FPS. It has some very difficult spins. Now we're moving up to a top 25 ILL, Kingdom of Miracalis. This is the 15 CPS version, and you know it's difficult when the world record is 1.1%. This level is pretty hard, as you can see from the showcase. The hardest level on the list is Cycloclick, or something like that. This level is 2 players, and mostly uses that for the level. It also needs almost 2,000 FPS. 2 reasons why this level is really difficult. The first one is because it utilizes 2 player for pretty much the entire level, and also because it's over 6 minutes long of impossible top 1 15 CPS gameplay. Before this chapter starts, we are going to be going over the old SSL and not the new one. This list is a little bit harder than the ILL, but some levels are not more difficult than Cycloclick, some of them are. So the level I'm showing next, I'm not sure if it's harder, I'm pretty sure it is though. Now SSL doesn't have very high standards, so we're going to be discussing Catatartarus, which is pretty bad, but is also pretty hard. This level is number 50 on this SSL.
Bruh.
M. Vinci has made a lot of levels on the SSL. Their hardest level is at number 8. The reason why this level is so hard is at 76% there is a moving spam corridor, which took someone 10 hours straight to buy. So yeah, this level is definitely in the top difficulty. the hardest level on the SSL is Back on Track. Just kidding, it's not Back on Track. I just named Back on Track. This level people don't really like too much because the difficulty is kind of carried by orb spam, but that doesn't mean it's easy. This level is extremely difficult. The PPLL, or the physically possible levels list, is basically the last list which we're going to cover. The levels aren't really dumb. Like, the levels on the other list is required and standard amount of FPS and all that. These levels are basically pretty impossible. This first level is actually going to be in the top 5. I'm pretty sure you'll know it. PPLL Life. This level is probably one of the higher quality levels, as it's a full-blown, like, 5-minute level, and it becomes impossible at the end. The reason why this isn't number 1 is because of a very interesting factor we're going to talk about in a few levels. Now, if you didn't know, Nessus used to be the hardest level in the game, but that level is actually impossible now in 2.2. So, your boy Mega, who is the same guy who made PPL Life, made this level, Nessus is Dead, which requires 1 CPS for this amount of seconds. So, yeah. The hardest level is pretty similar to this. It's 2 CPS, but a way bigger number. It's called I Miss HLL. I don't know what that is, but you can't go on it anymore. The reason why this is number 1 is because of the boredom factor. Yeah, that's literally why it's number 1. The reason why I put 2 lists into one section is because I'm going to be doing the hardest levels from both of the lists and explaining how they work. Starting off with the TPLL, one of the most impressive achievements in Geometry Dash, the BMS limit. The BMS is the Bashichu matrix system. It's a notation designed to produce large numbers, invented in 2014. This is such a large FPS that it looks like this. The hardest physically impossible levels list is a little bit different. These levels are mostly built to be extremely long. You might recognize some stuff like Timeless. That's probably it, you probably don't recognize anything else. But the hardest level is Emptiness. This level lasts for 68 octillion years. And this is what that number looks like.